I want to welcome all of you to this presentation. This presentation is meant for everyone associated with us, that is the teaching staff as well as the students. We want to make sure that we are on the same page in terms of the things that we do in relation to assessments, such that when we talk about what we call critical reflective essays, you understand why we want them. If we talk about presentations, you also understand why we want them. If we talk about oral examinations, why we emphasize them. So this is a presentation that tries to shed light in that line. But also, we believe that it is very important for you as students to be literate in terms of AI. AI literacy is one of the key skills of the 21st century. So when we talk about the things of AI, you get to appreciate them. So we are living in an AI generation. AI has been with us for some time, but the major breakthroughs where everyone at least has had or has used a tool that is powered by AI. We are living in that generation now. It's no longer theory, it's what we are living with now. Okay, so what does this really mean? When we talk about AI, we are basically referring to computer systems that try to simulate. The word simulate is that trying to be like the human intelligence. Okay, so you have computer programs that can perform tasks that otherwise humans can perform. And I use this picture to illustrate that, okay, for you as a human, you're here, but you can have an assistant here, and that assistant is basically an AI assistant. So you have a person who can help you do some things, and you don't have to do them from scratch. Okay, so for purposes of this presentation, I want you to be familiar with just two concepts. One is what we call machine learning, and then the second one is neural networks. If we understand this, I believe that our conversations will be a little smooth. So when we talk about machine learning, we are basically referring to AI systems that are basically trained on a lot of data, which we call big data. Okay, so computer systems are trained with are given a lot of data, and then they analyze that data to make predictions or even make decisions. What we often call as predictive AI. Okay, predictive AI. So we basically collect a lot of information. For an institution, for example, Risto, we collect a lot of information. That information from the moment you log in, how many hours you spend while logged in our learning platform, to what you're doing on the learning platform, which resources did you open, and how long did you spend on the learning platform, and what exactly were you doing. We got all this information, plus the information related to you, the assignments that you have done, whether you have passed them or not. So we get a lot of information from you. So imagine that kind of information that we have collected via our learning platform. Imagine that we can use that information into the learning platform. What is the average time that you spend on the learning platform? When we get this kind of information, we can be able to tailor our teaching and our assessments based on that kind of information. So that is basically what machine learning is all about. So we can track your performance, we can track how you engage with the different resources, but we can also make decisions on how our resources can be structured and things like that. So neural networks is about a series of algorithms that mimic human brain to recognize patterns and solve complex problems. Why do we really want to understand this? You have seen, perhaps on social media, people's voices being cloned. We call it cloning. Okay, so you can use my voice, for example, to produce anything you want, as long as you have a sample of my voice. Okay, that is voice recognition. And then also issues to do with language translation. If you speak Arabic and I speak English, I don't need an interpreter. We can use these AI tools and they can facilitate that translation. Even medical doctors can use AI tools to enable them interpret, for example, X-rays. Okay, they can be able to interpret that there is a tumor here, or this is tuberculosis, or this is one. Still about AI, but this basically uses the science to do with neural networks, where these computer systems are basically trained to recognize patterns and be able to come up with conclusions about scenarios that they are being provided with. Okay. And then the other thing is what we call the Internet of Things. That we live in an interconnected world. You can find out that you have your gate at home is actually connected to your phone. Okay, and then you have, for example, your safe, the safe in the house where you keep your money is actually also connected to your phone. So when we talk about Internet of Things, it means that the devices and the other gadgets that we have are basically interconnected. Okay, they're interconnected. And now this can also be applied in education. For example, in what we can call the smart classrooms. Okay, so what does this basically mean? Is that we can get everything, every gadget that we are using in learning and teaching being connected to one another. Okay, so in the classroom you can have a smart board, and that smart board is linked to, for example, tablets that students are using, and then all these tablets are also connected to, for example, an administrative system. Okay, so this is basically to mean that the laptops, the phones, the smart board, everything is basically interconnected. Okay, so for example, where the teacher writes on the smart board, and then where the students access these resources, let us say, for example, via it can be via the smartphone, it can be via the laptop. These are all things that are actually interconnected. So you don't have, for example, if you have written notes on the smart board, these notes are directly reflected on the student's tablet or laptop. So there is no need for you to even transfer information, because the students just opens their tablet and they see the notes that you wrote when you are conducting the class. So that is a concept to do with Internet of Things. It allows things to be done automatically. Okay, to notice that so and so attended the class, and they attended using this gadget. They spent this amount of time using the gadget. They attempted this. So you don't need, for example, to be able to track information independently of the different devices that you have. So that is an example of a smart classroom where different devices and gadgets are actually interconnected. So in the world of AI, we have three categories. We have what we call artificial narrow intelligence. These are where you basically have a tool, an AI tool that performs a specific task, only one task. That's why we call them artificial narrow intelligence. And then we have AI tools that we call the artificial general intelligence. These are the ones that we actually use mainly. Okay, artificial general intelligence. For them, they basically try to replicate or try to mimic or try to simulate the human mind. Your mind can do a number of things. You can memorize, you can analyze, you can describe, you can explain, you can do a lot of things. Your mind. So that's the same thing that these AI tools can actually do. Okay, they do all these roles. So this is where we say that they actually employ a lot of strong AI. Okay, and then we have the artificial super intelligence. Now these artificial intelligence systems that they surpass human intelligence. There is a limitation to our intelligence as humans. So these artificial super intelligence systems can do things that we humans cannot do. Okay, so we basically say that they are machine conscious. Okay, so that description is what I have here. So our concentration in this presentation is on generative AI, and that's called them Gen AI, and what its implications are in higher learning and assessment. That is basically our discussion in this presentation. These AI tools, generative AI tools, you can use them for content generation. So this content can be in terms of text, words, it can be images, it can be audio, it can be a number of things, a lot of things can be produced by these AI models. Okay, and for educational institutions, for example, Restore, yes, we can deploy this generative AI in making sure that we generate content that meets the learning objectives for the different programs that we have. Okay, but also when, for example, you join us, we should be having the ability to understand your learning needs and personalize the teaching according to the gaps of the learning needs that you actually have. That is a very good application of AI tools. So AI tools can enable personalized learning experiences. But of course, when you have new tools like that, challenges will always be there. Challenges to do with controlling quality, ethical issues to do with data privacy, and then also issues to do with academic integrity can come in, issues of plagiarism can come in, and also mistakes that humans can actually make associated with AI systems, as we shall see later on. These generative AI tools work best when you have good knowledge in terms of prompt generation. Prompt generation is very, very important. A prompt is the instruction that you give to this AI tool to be able to give you what you have asked it to do. Okay, so that means that you as students, you actually need to understand how prompts are used. Okay, it's an area that you really need to do some reading on. How do you make sure that the AI tool gives you what you want? Okay, so a prompt is a specific instruction. It could be a question, a statement that you input in order for the AI to give you a response or an action. So prompt generation is very, very important. There are different techniques that you need to follow in generating information from these AI tools. So you need to know what are the qualities of a good prompt. Okay, that's very important. Our focus today is to look at the common generative AI tools, and of course, we can start the discussion by looking at ChatGPT, which is owned by OpenAI. It's the major one which had a lot of impact when it was announced. It is, I think, the only service that amassed a number of users in the shortest time possible. Okay, so very many people used AI during its inception. That means that you see, it's about something that will help people who always market itself automatically. So a lot of news were out there on ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT belongs to, it is owned by OpenAI as an organization, and it is a generative AI. It is designed to generate text in a human-like format, okay, natural conversation, or in a conversational way. In education, it has been applied in a number of different ways. In creating what we call personalized learning, which I talked about, in also issues to do with content generation, in tutoring, in curriculum development, and also in academic writing prompt, okay, and many other different ways. That means that you as a student, you should actually know how to use ChatGPT for your learning purposes. Okay, for your learning purposes. Like we have seen that it can help in academic writing, it can help in personalized learning, it can help in explaining things in a much more simpler way, perhaps than what the textbook are providing. Okay, so with the ChatGPT, it's basically like having a teacher next to you all the time. With ChatGPT, we have what we call plugins. The plugins are basically extensions or additional tools that are linked with the ChatGPT, and they can perform specific functions. So here, these are some of the AI tools that are actually linked with ChatGPT, and you can access these tools actually when you have the paid version, what we call the premium version of ChatGPT. So, of course, some of them are paid for, but some of them are also free. So basically, what we are having is that you can access different AI tools via ChatGPT, and you can use them for different purposes. So if you want to do research, ChatGPT and the Perplexity can help you to some extent. Midjourney and this one, Ideogram, can help you with image generation. If you want to create videos, you have the collabs. These, although the ones on this side are all free, these are free platforms that you can use. Taking notes, even Google Documents has AI there. Desktopers, for making your slides, Desktopers, you can use it. And many others, okay? And actually, these are not the only tools that are available for you to use in your academics, okay? Copilot is another one. You can access Copilot on your computer. we have Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Edge is your browser on your Windows computer. It is there. If you just search Microsoft Edge, okay, it is there already installed on your Windows computer. So it is the browser owned by Microsoft. Okay, so when you open that browser, for example, this is a textbook. This is a textbook I use for making these slides. So Microsoft Edge can open PDF books like this. So when you open a textbook using Microsoft Edge, definitely this here, this is Copilot. You can see that logo there. That is Copilot. It will open automatically, and it will, for example, here it is saying, "Hi, Mawa, see what's possible with Copilot in Edge." So it means that if I want to summarize this textbook here, I can just click here. You can see it is telling me generate document summary. It will definitely generate that summary for me to that page. And I can ask questions, and the answers will be coming from this document here. And also, if I want insights from that document, I can click there, and that information will come. Okay, and you can do a number of things even down here. I can hide this. I can write my prompt here, and I will get a response also. So a lot of things can be done with Copilot. So what does this really mean for you as students? Is that when you open a textbook, it's like you're having the teacher next to you to help you understand the textbook. This is what it means. Nothing very complicated. So you don't need to call the support team. For example, I read about this and I don't understand it. The teacher is here. The teacher is here. Okay? You can ask Copilot any question and they will always give you the answer. And then Gemini is another tool. What did I do with Gemini here? What I did is that I got a screenshot. So I got a screenshot of this. Got a screenshot of that, and then put it in Gemini. And then I said, please explain. So I put the picture, and then I said, explain. And then Gemini is here explaining to me what is here. And it did quite well. Okay, so Gemini is what you can actually get when you put gemini.google.com. That is how you can access Gemini and be able to use it. So you can put an image instead of this text, screenshot of text. You can actually have an image, and Gemini will be able to explain that image for you if you actually need that. And then that screenshot again, this screenshot, this one here, I got a screenshot and put it in Gemini and asked it to make for me a multiple choice question. And this is the question it came up with, and it gave me the answer. That the answer is actually B. Okay, so you can use Gemini to actually test yourself on what you have read. Okay, and it gives an explanation for why the answer is actually B. So this basically means that Gemini is one of the tools that you can use to assess your learning, to see that whether what you learned, what you have read about, you have actually understood what you have read. Okay, so that means that you can ask Gemini to give you the questions without the answers, then you attempt those questions, and then later on you match and see if the answers are actually correct with what Gemini is giving you. Data analysis. Those of you doing research, data analysis shouldn't be very complicated in the era of AI. In this example, I used an extension found in Google Sheets. So that extension is called Looker Studio. When you open Google Sheets, you click on extensions, you will see Looker Studio. With that, I had data, a small data set where I generated this. This was basically analyzing the age of my participants, just a small data set. So what this did was that it gave me the analysis of that data set in terms of the maximum age, the minimum age, the average, and the number of counts, and generated for me these figures automatically. Okay, so for those of you who are doing M&E in your organizations, please, if you're writing reports, average monthly payments to whatever it is, these AI tools can really help you. Other things that I have not talked about are issues to do with image generation. I talked about it earlier on, but this one here is one of the AI tools that is at least very good in image generation. So these images that you see here are actually generated by AI. And then also in research, I remember when I did some research some time back that I had to recruit assistants to help me in transcribing, so they could listen to what I asked the participants. So they listen to my question, and then they also pick the responses from the participants and write that in a Word document for me to do the analysis later on. That is basically transcription, especially for qualitative studies. For now, you actually have a number of AI tools that can do transcription for you. Okay, they can do transcription for you. Even they can actually help you with the qualitative data analysis. Issues to do with the film generation can actually be done. If you are a software person, generating codes is what AI tools can also still do. So this therefore means that when we ask you to describe the burden of malaria in South Sudan, definitely you can go to AI and get some information there. The problem comes in when you cannot defend what you have. So in terms of getting information, in terms of text, this is no longer the problem. Okay, this is no longer the problem because you can decide which AI tool to use to tell us about the burden of malaria in South Sudan. If you ask any AI tool to give you the different ways you can assess nutrition status, you will have them. So you will have the answers in abundance. Now, what for us as an institution we are interested in is that indeed that the answers that you give are a true reflection of the extent of learning that you actually have. So if you can ably explain to us that the burden of malaria is so and so, is like this and that, and then when we actually ask you these questions one-on-one, you should be able to give us the responses that you have in your paper. Okay? But this is not to mean that actually these tools actually replace your mind, your thinking. They cannot replace your thinking. Okay? You need to put in the thinking. You need to put in the mental work. Now, for us as your tutors, we actually know the content that you have produced using an AI tool or the content that you have actually produced on your own. Okay? And one of the tools that we use is Reimagining. Grammarly is one of the tools. So in this image that you're seeing on your screen is basically a screenshot from Grammarly. So Grammarly is a tool, a writing academic assistant tool or academic writing tool that you can use. Okay, so it can help you with sentence structure, issues of spelling, issues of punctuation, a lot of things. But for us as an institution, it helps us with another thing. One of that is what we call plagiarism. So Grammarly helps us to check your work for plagiarism, okay? But it also helps us to check the extent with which you have your work as AI-generated text. AI-generated text. So this therefore to mean that if you use your AI tools to basically answer the courseworks, we'll be able to run that document through the Grammarly application and be able to see that 80% of your work is actually AI generated. And then we know that you have not really put in any effort to make sure that the work reflects who you are. So that is one of the issues that you really need to be aware of, that we use these tools to be able to see that you have used AI tools. The problem with using AI tools, like I said, is that it is like saying that you have passed an exam with 80%, yet in real life you actually know 20%. That is not fair. So when using AI, it means that issues of transparency and integrity are quite important. So for us as teachers, we have used these AI tools and we have seen content that comes from AI tools. And even without using any tool, we can be able to see that this is AI generated content. Okay? So, but still, some people can use other tools to make sure that the AI text actually looks like it is human generated. So that is what we call humanizing AI text. And I did a simple search on Google, and these are some of those that you can see. Humanized AI. You have humanized AI text. You can see these are different organizations that are creating these tools. So this is to tell you that yes, you can generate this content, and this content looks AI. It looks AI. We can say that this work is AI generated work. But we are also telling you that yes, there are actually antidotes to that problem. These antidotes are the tools that help to humanize the text that you have generated using AI. But still, we are also telling you that we actually know about these tools. So it's basically telling you that cheating is not the way you should be taking, because whatever tools that you're using, we are quite aware of them. So AI is not about to go away. It's something that is going to be with us. 2 days back, 2 days back, Apple announced iPhone 16. And the major selling points for iPhone 16 are issues to do with its AI capabilities. Okay, and also Microsoft promised to release the first AI-powered computer laptop, and I think they will be on the market very soon. So this is basically to mean that even the devices that you'll be handling, they will have AI, a lot of AI. For example, even those face recognition phones that you have, that is basically AI. So this is basically to emphasize that AI is here with us, and we're going to be interacting with it every day. So what happens if you have an AI-powered computer? That will also have other implications that we are also ready to explore as an institution, and what are the likely impact that we are likely to see when people are using AI-powered smartphones, AI-powered computers. What implications will that have on learning and assessment of students? So, the impact of AI in higher education is huge. Okay, it has improved students' learning experiences. You have tutor assistants. You have enhanced learning experiences, personalized learning, and a lot of things. Even administrative processes are becoming easier because of the AI tools. Okay, but always when you have something coming in, you have to be ready because something positive comes with something negative. So it is basically bound to happen that you are going to have negative issues to do with AI. So here, looking at the student-teacher weaknesses and threats that AI possesses, this point number one is that AI should not replace your thinking, whether as a teacher, whether as a student. You should possess the ability to reflect creatively and critically about issues that you're discussing. And then there's also risk for misinformation. One of the dangers of AI is that they have what I can call inherent biases based on the type of data that they are trained on. Okay, so AI tools can assist humans in doing different tasks, but they cannot replace our thinking and understanding. Okay, and then issues to do with, we understand certain things much better because we actually attach context to some of this information that we actually have. And then if we use a lot of AI, we lose that touch that we can have with the students. So that means that the use of AI should be limited to a very good extent. So providing proper leadership in transitioning or in the use of AI or its utilization is actually also still very, very important. You don't just introduce things in a blanket way without critically reflecting on the likely consequences, what I can term as the unwanted consequences of AI. Okay? Perspectives, different ways of thinking. Okay, if you rely on these AI tools, you are most likely going to be one-dimensional, yet different perspectives are needed in understanding many of these concepts. And then still this is related to the other part of interactions with students. It is very important that interaction is actually maintained. We are humans and we are social beings. So as an institution, it is very vital that we use our resources appropriately in deploying AI. And then also we should be aware that using AI tools for different purposes in learning and teaching can have different implications, especially during implementation and maintenance. And issues of cyber attacks or cyber security issues associated with AI tools is also something that organizations need to be aware of. If, for example, one organization relies a lot on AI-generated content, there was that tendency to use a lot of AI images, and these images used to have errors. Okay, so people are actually asking themselves questions. Why could we have a very strong organization like that deploying or using AI just like that with not a lot of caution? Okay, AI tools keep changing every day. As an organization or as even students, you need to be aware of what is happening in the market of AI and what are the new AI tools that you can really use to enhance your learning. Strong ICT infrastructure is very key. For us as an institution, we have the AI policy, but that AI policy is basically driven by the fact that we want our students to be AI literate. When we talk about AI literacy, we are basically emphasizing the fact that our students should be able to know how to use AI to enhance their learning, to increase their productivity, but also to be very suitable for the job market. It is now not very possible to find that you have an organization which does not use any AI tool at all. Be very difficult. Okay, so that's one point. The other thing is we are aware of the dynamics that actually happen during the learning processes and also the evolution of the AI technologies. So we want to be as fluid as possible, not as very rigid as an organization. But we also want you to use AI tools in a safe and secure way. So not using AI tools to create harm in any way. So responsible use of AI. We also want to emphasize that we want you to know about these AI tools and it should do with awareness. Otherwise, we couldn't be having such sessions if we don't want you to be aware of these tools and how you can deploy them. And therefore, what this means is that when we give you objectives, definitely you will get an answer from the AI tool. When we give you structured questions, definitely you will get answers from the AI tool. So that is why we actually use oral examinations, because at least there we are talking directly to you and we are seeing that you are not being aided by any AI assistant. So that is why oral exams are very, very important. But this is also not to say that oral exams cannot be cheated using AI tools. It is also possible that you can have oral exams being cheated using AI tools. But at least we are quite sure that the extent to which you can have examination malpractice with oral exams is quite limited. And then that is also why we use what we call reflective essays. We want you to describe your learning experiences, personal learning experiences, critical reflections, and then you also give us an analysis of the resources that you have used in the module or during the module. So reflective essays or exams are our main ways of assessing you, because we are aware that other modalities can be misused. But of course, this is not to say that we actually do not have objectives in our assessments. Objectives can still be used, and when we go for objectives, we emphasize the use of proctoring. Proctoring tools are actually available. These are tools that can make sure that when you connect to a computer and you're going to do an examination that has multiple choice questions, then you cannot move from that screen to go to the browser and look for the answer. It locks the browser, it tracks your behavior or your habits, what you're doing on the screen, and we are also recording you. We can be able to see you using the camera that you have. So we are able to see throughout the examination that you are actually focused on the examination. You didn't open any book next to you, or you did not open another tab on your browser to be able to look for the answer. So we can still use those, but when we use protracting tools to be able to do that. Computer programs that can limit the extent to which you can cheat exams. Presentations that we are now having are also another way that we are using, at least there. If you're presenting to us, issues to do with ethical, for example, ethical theories that can be applied in a particular public health intervention. We can be able to ask you questions, and if you can basically ably explain or give the answers, then we are very sure that learning has taken place and we give you marks. And that means that our role in terms of promoting learning and assessing learning is actually that. So that's why course discussion, courseworks are actually very important, including the presentations of your work. So that marks the end.